What's happening, you guys? Man, hey, look, I've been a holder in Bitcoin for quite some time. I built my knowledge. I studied Bitcoin way early on, so I had a masterful understanding on how it worked. I made mistakes with it. I did things that I wasn't supposed to do with it that would have, slowed down my progress and success rate with it at an earlier point in time. But my understanding of Bitcoin is on the top tier of understandings when it comes to how it works in a digital asset. So some things happened not too long ago, and it kind of shook the Bitcoin atmosphere. What happened? You're probably asking. There was a company that offered what they call cold storage. Cold storage is when you have your Bitcoin offline and into a space that cannot be touched by anybody other than yourself, and implementing what they call a seed phrase. That didn't happen. Cold storages have been the most talked about and most efficient way of utilizing your Bitcoin, and that has been the upper echelon in how you utilize it. And the reason why people want it in the very beginning is because it's self-sovereign. You don't have to use what they call an exchange, Coinbase, Robinhood, and the list goes on. You can actually hold your Bitcoin yourself, what they call self-custody. And cold storage is just a higher level of self-custody for people that don't understand how Bitcoin works and is very new to the whole conversation. This company offered a device that you can have self-custody, cold storage, and place your Bitcoin on their device. That company name was Cold Card, right? And I remembered them. I even told my wife a couple of years back that we was gonna get one, and we was gonna put our Bitcoin onto what they call Cold Card. The community did at one point push this narrative that Cold Card was something to rely on when it came to your self-custody, and a lot of people went with it. I was one of them that was actually going to do it. But knowing myself and me not moving on other people's time, I like to move on my own time. I don't care much about what other people say. I like to do things when it's comfortable for me to do. And with that being said, it actually worked out in my favor. And let me tell you guys why. Cold Card shook the Bitcoin atmosphere. It has pumped fear into the community. And a lot of people wound up making other decisions, emotional decisions, rational decisions. People right now are still talking about it because it is fairly new, and they're talking about all types of crazy things, man. And I'm gonna get to those. I'm gonna get to that right now. But one thing you cannot do is react emotionally with Bitcoin. You cannot do that. It's still here. It's still a big dog, and it's still self-sovereign. You just have to go about it in a more thoughtful way, a way that you know that it's safe to the highest echelon. And that's why we trust in the Bitcoin, because there are seed phrases, passwords, things that cannot be infiltrated once locked in and never shown to a third party. And that was demonstrated by Cold Card. Cold Card caused many people to have lost millions and millions worth of dollars that was converted into Bitcoin, obviously, and they lost that. They lost those funds dealing with Cold Card, and there are no repercussions because we all know with Bitcoin, once somebody hacks and gets in there and gets your Bitcoin, that's it, right? So that was that. I'm gonna give a solution based off what I've been doing, but I'm also going to talk about what not to do, because I think it's moving in the opposite direction, in the direction that you never want it to be in the first place. But because people are reacting so emotionally and they're so frustrated and upset, and I can understand why, is because something so dear to heart has been ripped away by motherfuckers you were supposed to be able to trust. And I've said this time after time, you cannot trust them. Let me say it again. You cannot trust them. Them are the Wall Street and the top motherfuckers that are running this country. You cannot trust them. They'll do some of the dirtiest shit possible. And it's the reason why these motherfuckers want the Bitcoin back into their hands and only into their hands. Because if you control it, they don't have no ties to you. They can't control you. When they want control and they don't have it, they cause what? Chaos. And what happened? Chaos in the community. My theory is that the motherfuckers in Wall Street paid these motherfuckers off that Cold Card, the one that created that shit. They paid them a nice pretty penny to cause that shit to happen. They found a way to get that shit to happen. So that way it caused chaos. Everybody start acting emotional. People start selling their Bitcoin. Give all the Bitcoin back to IBIT and Bit and all of those ETF situations and stuff like that. That's what they wanted from the very beginning, because they want to be the only ones that control this shit. Why do they want you to control it? Because what the fuck would you need them for? What would you need Wall Street for if you controlling it? You feel me? But that's the problem with the motherfuckers that run this place, is that if they don't have control, they're gonna cause chaos somewhere in the atmosphere. The Bitcoin community was cool. Everybody was chilling, they was stacking, and they still are to this day. It ain't nothing really changed, you know. But it's a lot of people that run the community off of YouTube and shit. They all have different opinions now, you know, and it's gonna start confusing and scaring people. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do, and this is my solution, this is what I'm doing, right? And I'm not telling you got to do it, but I've never had a fucking problem with using multi-signature Bitcoin. Multi-signature Bitcoin. You can go back to my older videos. I talked about Bitcoin a long time ago about multi-signature. Multi-signature is more than one person has to have a seed phrase, and they have to be able to sign off on these on Bitcoin being released out of an account. Not just one seed phrase. Because a motherfucker come up with one seed phrase just like they did Cold Card. I don't know how the fuck they did that, but they did. And like I said, I think it was done on purpose, and they did, and it's gone. But if you got multiple seed phrases and passwords from other people that's a part of your multi-signature, none of that shit can go nowhere. Because they got to get one seed phrase, they got to get the other person's seed phrase, they got to get the other person's seed phrase, and that's just not going to happen. Mathematically, it's not going to happen. So multi-signature is the strongest way to preserve your Bitcoin, period, point blank. And if you're doing it the single signature, just have that shit just to have it. You know, just like you have your fucking bank accounts where motherfuckers come in and take your shit out of your bank account and nobody think twice. They'd steal your credit off your credit card and nobody think twice. It's just, let me just change my card. They don't sit there and cry and make videos about, oh, my debit card, somebody stole money on my debit card, and shit like that. But when it comes to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a big dog, it has to be a big fucking thing, right? And I get it. Like I said, for people that did get hacked and and they lost their funds, I feel for them. I think the motherfuckers need to be held responsible over at Cold Card. They need to figure out a way to get people back some of the funds that was lost. Because fuck that shit. They came up with a product that was gonna help you secure something dear to heart that people are building sovereignly, so that way they don't have to deal with fucking America's cheating ass dollar all the time. And you relied on them. When I say them, it's the same people. They keep doing the same destructive shit in order to steal and thieve from you like they've always been doing. Wall Street, brokerages, mortgages, sub-mortgages. It's always been the same shit. You can't trust them, is what I'm saying. You can trust your fucking self. You can trust your daughter, your son, your wife. You can trust them. Set up a multi-signature account. Stop trying to give now everybody they want to give their shit back for Wall Street so they can control your Bitcoin. That's what they want you to do now. A lot of these motherfuckers then sold out, been paid off, and now they telling you to do something otherwise than what they've been telling you for years prior. So I'm pretty turned up about this shit, because when I left the loop, I don't want to sit there and talk about Bitcoin every fucking day. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to sit there and talk about it every day. I just want to stack it and know that it's gonna do what it's gonna do when the time comes. That's all I want to. I don't want to talk about this shit every single day. But what I'm not gonna do is sit here and listen to people cry and shit and try to bamboozle you in order to give your shit away that you've been stacking up to the same motherfuckers that you're trying to take it from. It's crazy, man. You can't trust them. You can just trust yourself. You can trust your wife. You can trust your daughter. You can trust your son. But you can't trust them, because they're going to continue to keep stealing from you. They're going to piss on your head and tell you that it's raining. So like I said, man, I feel bad, for, like I said, the people. And I think I know one of the guys that it happened to. This dude is cool. He actually been dealing with Wall Street since he started his whole career in the financial market, right? And he comes from that background. But he's a brother. He's a Hispanic brother. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to see, because he's been very passionate about it over so many years. And I watched him and I learned from him. And I think he was affected by it, and it sucks, man. Like I said, guys, you guys don't have to use none of this shit that they keep coming up with, because they're gonna keep coming up with these products. Oh, this gonna do this gonna do that. Motherfucker ain't gonna do shit. It ain't gonna do nothing but cause you to lose your shit at the end of the day. Multi-signature is the best way at this current time. It has been set and proven, because nobody has been hacked by no multi-signature. I don't even think single signature is a problem, but based on what we've seen so far is that it's not 100% bulletproof, right? And I don't think really everything is 100% bulletproof. Nothing ain't gonna ever be 100% bulletproof, especially trying to keep it from them. It ain't never gonna be, because they're gonna find a way to cause chaos in order to get what the fuck they want. Look around. Look at the wars. Look at the food prices. Look at the home prices. Look at Wall Street. The numbers never fucking change, but the information always fucking changes. Listen to me, what I'm telling you guys. If you're a holder of Bitcoin and you believe in the self-sovereignty, build it and stack it yourself. Get off of social media. Stop watching these motherfuckers, because they're gonna keep trying to burn it into your head that you need to buy whatever it is that they have so you can so-called keep your shit safe. Self-storage. Find something where you can do a multi-signature with somebody that you love, someone that you trust, and go from there. Stop relying on these outside motherfuckers, because they're gonna keep doing you dirty over and over. It's set in stone. It's always going to happen. It's been happening. It still is happening till this day. They don't give a fuck about you. They will try any and everything in order to take from you. I'm not just sitting here making this video and making shit up. It always happens, man. Trust yourself. Stop trusting all of these outside entities, these motherfuckers coming up with all of these certain so-called business ideas and devices and shit like that in order to make you part ways with your shit. It's always like that. Oh, come trust me. I can keep your shit safe and fuck that. They ain't gonna do nothing, and you're gonna wind up with nothing. That being said, guys, hopefully that made sense to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, peace.